I'm Hugh Nankerville, and I'm a composer and musician, and I've been involved with AYM for quite a long time. I think 8 years now on this project, since it began, looking at how you identify musical potential and talent when you've only ever got a full group to work with. So traditionally, lots of music teachers would often use the idea of musical technique as the kind of starting point for identifying musical talent in particular, but also even musical potential. So if they can play scales, if they can read notated music, then they've probably got musical talent. Whereas for us, it was kind of much more interesting to think, actually, what's that doing to the people that have never had that opportunity, that might have just as much potential, but haven't been given that opportunity and aren't being given it. So what kinds of things can you do to realise those starting points?
The 8 key facets are characteristics that you might spot in children, which would tell someone like me that they might have potential to succeed in playing an instrument. I'd be looking that they would enjoy themselves when they're doing musical activities. I'd be looking for them to be bright-eyed and enthusiastic about the activity and looking happy and enjoy themselves, and just getting involved and being active and creative would be a telltale sign.
So for attentive listening, I suppose there's 2 things really. One is about listening to you as the music leader, so are they paying attention? But also it's about paying attention to each other when they're playing music.
Absorption in the music is where the student is taking a full part in the musical experience. So they might be feeling the music, they might be listening to the emotions in the music and the mood of the music, and that might come out in facial expressions, it might come out in movements, they might start moving along to the different nuances within the music. Expression
is an important one because you can observe it in lots of different ways. So you can observe it verbally, so people can describe what it is that they've been doing, but you can also observe it visually and physically. But if somebody doesn't move, it doesn't mean that they're any less expressive. So you can kind of find out how they express in lots of different ways.
A student might be involved in the process and committed to the process by trying to make the process successful. They might be trying and making an effort to help the whole thing happen and help the whole thing do well. So it might be looking over and supporting other student. It might be spotting that something didn't quite work right, and they maybe suggest how it could work better next time.
Inclination to explore is an interesting one because if the music you're presenting to that group has no facility for them to explore it, it's really difficult to observe. For me and for the whole project, that's been a really important element, is to be able to see, so not only can they do something that's kind of already existing, but can they explore, can they improvise, can they kind of find an interesting new way to be able to play it, which you can accept and then you can adapt as the music leader within that group.
Inclination to lead is about the student being involved in taking over and taking a lead in the process. They might be inclined to help another student, or they might be inclined to take over and shout out suggestions and be creative in terms of being kind of responsible for the overall effect. Students who show memory skills, that would be an important way of identifying that a student might be good at playing a musical instrument, because they've got the ability to recall short musical phrases, longer musical phrases, and also lyrics for songs quite easily.
When I found out I was identified, I was so happy because I didn't want to do any other instruments except for violin, and I knew I was going to do it sometime soon.
Being identified means that she's constantly got an instrument with her, so she can practice at home. When she was just having a 6-week course at the school, the violin stayed at school, so she wasn't practicing. She looks forward to going to school to take lessons. Sometimes she didn't before.
Since I've been identified, my dad's brought me a guitar so I could play a guitar, and at school I'm doing a keyboard. I hope by joining the scheme I will get better.
Since I've been identified, the timing of my lesson has got longer, so before I only used to have like a 15-minute lesson, and now it's about a half an hour long lesson, so it's about 15 more minutes, which is really nice. I play trumpet, and it's a really nice musical instrument because since it's only got 3 valves, there's actually so much you can do with those 3 valves, and that's what I never knew before.
I think it helps Isla because it gives her confidence, somebody to recognise that she's got talent, and not being particularly musical myself. It's nice to have school, give her that support and further her talent in a way that she can play with other musicians as well.
So we can see musical potential in so many different ways if we're able to stand back and look at a group with a kind of open and curious view. But we can only look at it if we offer certain ways that they can express themselves.